So the thing that sucks about black mouse pads is that they show all kinds of dirt. Not the biggest fan of that, but nah. Black's a good color. So, before I get into this review, there are a few channel updates. I'm still messing with the audio situation here. So every video may sound slightly different than the last one. I do have the flu right now, so if I cough or anything during the video, just please work with me on it. It's really not that bad. And finally, I'm moving uploads from Thursdays to Fridays just because generally it's going to be easier on me. So with that little preamble out of the way, let's get into the review. So this is the AKG K361. You can generally find this about in that $90 to $100 range. It's just a closed back dynamic driver headphone. I would say it's a pretty good portable headphone if you have like a way to plug it into your phone. There is a Bluetooth version. I have heard that I haven't heard the Bluetooth version, but I have heard that the Bluetooth version does sound different. So the build quality would be applicable to the Bluetooth version, but the sound portion of this video is not going to be applicable. This is a fairly light headphone. It does come with like a little leatherette bag. I don't have it here with me. I've had this headphone for quite a while, but it's if you've ever seen like the bags that come with like Audio-Technica headphones, then you'll be in about the right ballpark of what you're getting with these. They do fold up. I almost folded them the wrong way. They only really fold like this way back. So they won't go that way, but they'll go this way. And they are very light. They are kind of cheap feeling, but not too horribly cheap feeling. They have been through quite a bit. As you can see, there is some scratches and scuffs on these things. But I don't see any major issues with it. If anything, it's probably this rubber top piece, because it feels a lot like a Beats style padding, and I know that they tend to peel. However, this isn't a Beats headphone. I trust AKG knows what they're doing with this type of headband, because honestly, I just thought of the perfect the Beats Solo 3. If you've ever held a pair of those, this feels roughly similar in terms of weight, although it is a good bit more durable. It is like a 2.5 millimeter like lock-in connection for the actual input, kind of like an M50X. It's not very proprietary, but it can make it a little difficult to find the cables for it. I was originally worried when I first got it because of these exposed cables in here, but they haven't really been any kind of issue for me. So I doubt there'll really be issues for anybody else. Honestly, it's not amazing build quality for the price, but the comfort's next level because of how light they are, and they don't have a whole lot of clamp, and how absolutely soft these ear pads are. You can listen to them for very, very long periods of time without getting any kind of discomfort. I would say probably about as long as the HD8XXs that I have over there. The only caveat to that I can think of is if you do work out with them, because of how light the clamp force is, they could fall off. But if you're going to be working out with it, you probably want something Bluetooth, and then in which case this isn't really going to be the headphone for you. Realistically, there's nothing horrible about the build. It's not that bad. The comfort's phenomenal, and I feel like there was probably a little bit of give in the build for comfort. It is mainly plastic, which isn't surprising. Now, for the sound. I know I'm kind of rushing through this one, just bear with me on it. For the sound, it's a very mid-range focus headphone. Like, it's not a very hyper-detailed headphone, but it's more of a smooth presentation rather than like, it's just a straight lack of detail. Now, it's If you've ever heard the mid-range on HD 600s, it's something kind of like that, but not quite as sweet sounding, but it's through the entire range of frequencies and not just the mid-range. So you end up getting like this intimate sound, and there's plenty of bass, but it's all about that mid-range. The top end, almost, I want to say for me, it almost has no air to it. The top end was a little bit weird for me because it just, I didn't really like it at first because I was coming from stuff like MSR7s and then like the Focal Alex, not Alex, but the Alasia. And like, I always expect more air in my headphones than what these produce, but with time, I've actually learned to appreciate it. I don't know if it was burn-in or me. I think I just want to say it's me. There's no way they'll ever get sibilant. Ever. No sibilants. You couldn't force these things to be sibilant. Like, maybe if you listen to like a really, really horribly mastered song and really, really cranked it. But realistically, without damaging your hearing, there's no way to get these things sibilant, because it's just, there's that roll off, and not really the treble itself, but like the upper treble. The bass does do this weird thing though. So if I roll back to the SHP 9600 review, when the bass hit in that headphone, everything else gave way for it. And that was my biggest gripe with it. With this headphone, it's almost the opposite effect, but to a way less, like, it's way less. So if things get too busy, sometimes the bass in it can kind of just, it doesn't disappear, but it kind of like steps back, I guess. There's an audible difference in volume in a bass hit that's just the bass hit alone, and the bass hit when there's a lot of stuff going on. And I know a lot of other cheaper headphones are like that too, but it feels like these are even more so. But over the time I've had them, it feels like they've done it less and less. Again, it could just be me, because my perception of these headphones has changed quite a bit over time. It's just, the bass wasn't the priority with these headphones, like it was with the SHP 9600s. The bass was they had the bass to the detriment of everything else. This has everything else to somewhat the detriment of the bass, because it doesn't do it nowhere near as bad as that headphone does it. But honestly, for $100, it's a great deal. Because honestly, like, in a lot of like trap music or rap music, you don't have a whole lot going on anyway. So the bass is still there in that type of music. And then in busier music, when it does take that step back, it's just, it's not as at a huge detriment, because it's still there. It's not like a hard cutout like the 9600s. And I swear, from some of the comments I got on that video, maybe I have a defective pair, but these are great. It has the comfort. It has ultra lightweight. There is a Bluetooth model. I don't know how it sounds. Apparently it sounds different. It probably does sound different due to, like, they got to make space in these cups for the electronics and everything. This is the wired model of the K361s. And it has the lovely mid-range and the treble that I have grown to love, because sibilant songs are no longer sibilant through these. If you are, like, if treble, like, if you can't stand treble, you don't like brighter headphones, then this is like the headphone for you. This is like a dark presentation. Well, not super dark, but it's like a dark-ish smooth presentation. So it makes a lot of stuff just sound nice. It lies to you, but in a good way. If you put badly mastered music through it, it just cleans it up. It gives you just that little bit of extra just smoothing over. And just the intense treble's gone. It's nice. It just lies to you that little bit, and I like it. Honestly, at their price point, they're an awesome deal. Even now, because they've been out for a few years, but I've realistically, even though I am worried about the build a little bit, I've ran into no issues with the build of mine that I've had. So it could just be the overall lightness of the headphones making it feel that way. But it is still $100, so you're probably going to have that in the back of your mind. Although at $100, you could also argue that if it does break, you could replace it. But $100 is a lot more to some people than it is to other people. So at $100, you'd still want it to last a while. And I've had these for a few years now, so they'll last you a little bit. And they don't take nothing to drive. You can run them off of almost anything. Like, they are not source picky at all. Whatever you plug them into, they're going to do great. Like, maybe if you plug it into the back of a motherboard, like a cheap motherboard out of your computer, it probably won't sound that great. But honestly, if you get like a little $10, $20 USB dongle DAC to plug into your computer, if you got like an Apple iPhone DAC hooked into your phone, you'll be golden. Honestly, these do have a hard recommendation. I know I sped through this video a little bit, but I've been having a rough time of it recently, you know, with the flu and everything. So hopefully next week's video won't be quite as rushed. And of course, as I said in the beginning of this video, all uploads are being moved from Thursdays to Fridays just because it's easier on me since I have my day job. I have Thursdays and Fridays off work. It just gives me that extra day off to work on this since I don't got to come straight in from work and work on. And I know I could have a backlog or whatever, but I procrastinate too much for that. Alright, well, thank you for watching, everyone. This is going to be uploaded as one take. Normally I don't do one take, but, you know. Have a good week, and see y'all next week.